lies will be exposed.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Hard Lens Media. Yes, you may be noticing that the background's a little bit different. Good to see all of you here. Hopefully, everyone is tuning in live and direct. Hit that like button. Give me a 5x5 if everybody can hear me. Can you hear me? 5x5? I assume so. Friday night. That's right. This is a special evening live stream where I better see emojis in the chat because we're going to let the chat build up. Everyone, crime is legal! Yay! So now's the time to invest in the Kitcoin because, yes, green on the sound, green on video, good. So long as it's green on everything green, because you know something, folks? We're going to the moon on this one, all right? This is going to be a special evening live stream. We're going to hang out with your good friend Kit Cabello because we're about to find out how crime is now legal, apparently. Or at least, here's the thing. I'm just going to break this down simple for all of you. Tuah, Haley Welch, the SEC investigation into her officially ends. So what? Hey, that 1,000-pound gorilla on her back, gone. Okay? Trevor Milton, pardoned by Trump, gone. Trump pardons not one, not two, but three BitMEX crypto exchange co-founders and ex-employee. Justin Sun, investor in Trump-backed crypto business, gets break in fraud case. And Sam Bankman-Fried still in jail. So there's a lot to take apart from this. So first of all, I think it's only fair that we at least get started with the juicy, no pun intended, everyone get your mind out of the gutter, the juicy details of what happened first. So first we're going to deal with everybody's lovely and favorite lady of them all, Haley Welch, a.k.a. Tuah. I mean, at this point now, everybody that's tuning in, I think we're going to see once again the return of the Tuah indeed. So what's going on? Haley Welch, a.k.a. Tuah Girl, says the SEC has closed its investigation into a crypto meme coin that crashed right after it launched. So going into this article right here, Haley Welch, better known online as Tuah, has shared findings from an SEC investigation into the crypto coin launch that sparked outrage against her last year. That was in December. In December of 2024, Welch was once again viral after launching her very own crypto token named Hawk, which immediately came under fire as netizens labeled the coin as a scam. And I'm going to say this to you guys because I know there's a lot of talk about Bitcoin and crypto. The best time to have gotten into Bitcoin was way early on. Crypto and all these meme coins, you are going to get rug pulled. I don't care how smart you are, how clever you are. If you're going to get involved in it, there's a 100% guarantee you're going to be tricked. And there's so many people who think that they are smarter than the system, but there are people who are professional scammers at this. And when you see your favorite influencer peddling a meme coin, then guess what's going to happen to them, guess what's going to happen, my lovelies? They're going to get rug pulled. They're going to lose all their money, M-O-N-E-Y. And it's a very dangerous precedent. Perhaps maybe under a different presidential administration, under a different Congress, things will be different. But hey, Haley Welch, it's over. The SEC, they're done with their investigation. Since the value of the Hawk coin fell almost instantaneously, skeptics and experts in the space accused early investors of rug pulling the token, but to make a quick buck, leaving new buyers out to dry. Following a heated X Spaces call with the likes of Fuzzy Banks and CoffeeZilla, as well as a lawsuit from investors, Welch went radio silent on social media for months. But in March of 2025, she officially announced her comeback and even shared the findings of an official investigation into the launch. So Haley Welch walks away from crypto scandal scot-free. My girl's out. As reported by TMZ, Welch's Hawk coin was subject of an investigation by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, which did not find the internet famous person at fault for any wrongdoing in regards to the launch. Her attorney, James Sala, told the outlet that the SEC closed the investigation without making any of its findings or seeking any monetary sanctions against Haley. Because they did not bring any action against her, there are no restrictions on what she can do in regards to crypto or securities in the future, he added. For the past few months, I've been cooperating with all authorities and attorneys, and finally that work is complete. Welch told TMZ, saying that she is happy to be starting back up again after taking a hiatus amid the chaos her coin had caused. So our girl is out. My future baby mama. Everyone, Everyone, it's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. But you want to know who's not fine? Now, this guy, CoffeeZilla, 10 out of 10, great content creator. He has exposed a lot of great scams and showed the world just how vile some of these cryptocurrency people are, these people who do these NFTs and then rob people out of their money. But, man, CoffeeZilla, I'm sorry you're going through this. So let's enjoy this. Well, we're gonna listen in because there's a lot more to play, but I feel his pain here.
This season of American Crime is Legal is getting even crazier. I haven't been posting on this channel because truthfully, I've been too depressed. Maybe depressed isn't the right word. Disillusioned, disenchanted, disgusted is probably more apt. But lately, we've seen sort of an escalation of this with the SEC basically dropping every possible slam dunk case they have. Like the Hawk Tuah girl, she had her investigation closed, obviously because she basically did more or less what the president did. Yes, it was a little bit worse, but kind of would look bad if you took out somebody for a meme coin while the president did it. But that's sort of your run-of-the-mill stuff you see a lot. I wouldn't even be commenting on it. Except that we've now moved from not just not going after people who've done something wrong, but sort of releasing the prisoners from Arkham. I am talking about Trevor Milton.
Now, hold on. Before we continue on with the rest of Trevor Milton, who is he? Well, he was recently pardoned by Donald Trump, convicted of bilking investors, Nikola founder, and Trump donor gets a presidential pardon. What exactly went down? I'll hear from Donald Trump himself.
Yeah. What was your reason for pardoning Trevor Milton?
Highly recommended by many people that was taken advantage of. He did a business deal like in Utah, as I have it. And I think he was exonerated, and then they brought him into New York. We had a rough road. I mean, he was exonerated. It was a big celebration. Again, I don't know him, but I was. They say it was very unfair, and they say the thing that he did wrong was he was one of the first people that supported a gentleman named Donald Trump for president. He supported Trump. He liked Trump. I didn't know him, but he liked him. It was in Utah, and they went after him. They went after his family. They went after his businesses. And he was.
So you're already seeing where this is going. You donate to Trump, everything's going to be fine to you. So everyone, listen. If you got a crime or you did something, the quickest way out of this is to donate to the Donald Trump campaign or to a Donald Trump charity. So all of you who I know who are angels and saints, my audience would do nothing wrong. Please listen to me. Believe me when I tell you. Go ahead, donate to Trump. You're going to be pardoned. It's everything that was illegal is now legal now, baby.
I believe exonerated, and then they went after him again, and they brought him this time into Manhattan, and he had nothing to do with Manhattan, and they got him. And I said, that's unfair. There are many people like that. They support Trump, and they went after him. You don't realize this is a vicious group of people that were in this office before us. This is a vicious group. They're violent. What they were doing to people, and you could go story after hundreds and even thousands of stories. And they went after this man. And when I heard about it, I said, nope, not going to happen. They destroyed 5 years of his life. He fought for 5 years of his life, and he did nothing wrong. And he's a good person. And basically, I had these fantastic recommendations about him from people that you know very well, all top-of-the-line people. They thought it was a horrible thing. There are many such cases, by the way, many such cases.
Yes, many such cases indeed, many such cases. And in turn, again, this is from CoffeeZilla's own X account. Convicted fraudster Trevor Milton gets pardoned. Absolutely insane. Actually speechless. This is the golden age of the grift. The grift is good. The grift is happening. It is live and direct. So I think it's only fair that we continue on because there's a portion in the video where CoffeeZilla does play this. I will play this full video in its entirety.
What's up, guys? Oh my gosh. Oh, you won't believe just what happened. Sorry, it's pretty hard for me to talk about, but probably the best day I've had in 5 years. I just got a call from the President of the United States on my phone, and he signed my full and unconditional pardon of innocence. I am free. The prosecutors can no longer hurt me. They can't destroy my family. They can't rip everything away from me. They can't ruin my life. I get to be with my wife now. I get to be with my family. It is done. It's over. I am now officially pardoned by the President of the United States, 4547, an amazing man that cared enough to call me personally to tell me how much of an injustice this all was, done by the same offices that harassed and prosecuted him. And I'm now officially 100% pardoned. And I wanted to tell everyone out there, all the people that supported me and fought through all the bull crap, fought all the lies, fought against all the short sellers and the destruction that they do and everybody else involved. The greatest comeback story in America is about to happen. And I just wanted to tell you guys.
So people are asking, what was he pardoned from, Kit? What happened? Well, here's from the Associated Press. The pardon of Milton, who was sentenced to 4 years in prison for exaggerating the potential of his technology, could wipe out hundreds of millions of dollars in restitution that prosecutors were seeking for defrauded investors. Milton, 42, and his wife donated more than $1.8 million to a Trump re-election campaign fund less than a month before the November election, according to the Federal Election Commission. At Milton's trial, prosecutors say a company video of a prototype truck appearing to be driven down a desert highway was actually a video of a non-functioning Nikola that had been rolling down the hill. Milton had not been incarcerated pending an appeal. Milton said late Thursday on social media that he had been pardoned by Trump. The White House confirmed the pardon Friday, though there was no notice of a pardon on the White House website. And now, again, for all of you who don't know, during his security fraud case, Milton was defended by two lawyers with connection to Trump, Mark McCausey, who represented the Trump organization, and Brad Bondi, the brother of Pam Bondi, who Trump appointed as United States Attorney General. It's okay, people. That's why. Hold on. Do I see in the back? Hold on. It's okay now. It's okay. Listen, I know what I said about investing in meme coins, but just give me money and you get the Kit coin, okay? That's all you got to do. Give me, money me now with the Kit coin and you'll be fine. It's perfectly fine. Hey, listen, if you're not laughing, you should be, because this is the madhouse world that we're in. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell Randy Gonzalez. It's Kit coins to the rescue. Continuing on, also Trump commuted the sentence of Aussie Media co-founder Carlos Watson just before he was due to report to prison for nearly a 10-year sentence in a financial conspiracy case. Our boy's out. Listen, I'm not happy about this, but this is like literally. I've seen larger YouTube channels that have covered so much into these cases. I feel very, very sorry for them right now, because they're probably banging their heads against a brick wall, and they're probably really down. So do me a favor, at least be sure to give CoffeeZilla an internet hug, because our boy's gonna need it. Because we're gonna play a little bit more of it. Okay, we're gonna play a little bit more of the rest of the video. But people are asking, who is Trevor Milton, and what did he do? So continue on. Trump has wasted little time in using his pardon power since beginning his second term. Hours after taking office, he wiped clean the records of roughly 1,500 people who participated in the January 6, 2021 riot at the U.S. Capitol. My personal opinion, I think that entire riot was stupid and pointless, and I do think that the witch hunt after all those people was pointless and stupid, because so much has been revealed about that case, because what no one talks about for January 6, especially in corporate media, or even AOC or TYT, which seems to be having its own little drama, its own little civil war. There's instances where the cops just let the rioters right on in, and they were following them around. Anyways, The next day, Trump announced that he had pardoned Ross Ulbricht, the founder of the Silk Road, an underground website for. Now listen. I'm actually glad that Ross is actually pardoned. I'm glad he's free. So there you go. So Nikola, which was a hot startup and rising star on Wall Street before becoming an enmeshed scandal, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in February. Milton, convicted of fraud, was portrayed by prosecutors as a con man 6 years after he had founded the company in a basement in Utah. Prosecutors said Milton falsely claimed to have built his own revolutionary truck that was actually a General Motors product with Nikola's logo stamped onto it. Called as a government witness, Nikola's CEO testified that Milton was prone to exaggeration when pitching his venture to investors. Milton resigned in 2020 amid reports of fraud that sent Nikola's stock prices into a tailspin. Investors suffered heavy losses as reports questioned Milton's claims that the company had already produced a zero-emission 18-wheel trucks. Truck. Where's our Big Trouble in Little China? If you watch a movie night, you know what I'm referencing. So continuing on, let's continue on because our boy CoffeeZilla's in pain.
Trevor Milton is like, the case was so open and shut. I mean, it literally was already over. He had already been arrested. According to the DOJ, Trevor Milton lied to investors again and again on social media, on television, on podcasts, and in print. But today's sentence should be a warning to startup founders and corporate executives everywhere. Fake it till you make it is not an excuse for fraud. And if you mislead your investors, you will pay a stiff price. Oh, no, you won't. Actually, you won't.
Oh, I could hold on. There's pain in those eyes right there.
Will pay a stiff price. Oh, no, you won't.
No, that's pain. That's pain right there. I'm sorry, dude. CoffeeZilla, you're a good guy, man, but I can feel it. Yeah, he's hurting, man. Yep.
Actually, you won't. Actually, you'll get away with it. Just donate some money to Donald J. Trump, because it turns out Trevor Milton, right before his pardon, coincidentally, had donated over $1 million to the Trump campaign. And done the same thing that SBF is doing, where he's like trying to pitch for like, I'm a Trump guy now. Because what all these guys know is if you pitch that, oh, I'm on Team Trump, then maybe you'll get away with it all. We see this from Donald J. Trump. I thought it was fake, like I said. I refused to report on this until we got Trump actually commenting on it, because I just didn't believe it was possible.
What was your reason for pardoning Trevor Milton?
Highly recommended by many people, that was taken advantage of. He did a business deal like in Utah, as I have it. And I think he was exonerated, and then they brought him into New York, where he had a rough road. I mean, he was exonerated. It was a big celebration. Again, I don't know him, but they say it was very unfair. And they say the thing that he did wrong was he was one of the first people that supported a gentleman named Donald Trump for president.
No conflict of interest. No real reason.
So if you support Donald Trump for president, you can do whatever crime you want. To be clear, that wasn't what he did wrong. Nobody was mad at him for going for Trump. Yes, he all of a sudden started donating money to Trump's campaign. But when Trevor Milton says, oh, this is my best day in 5 years, I'll tell you why it's his best day in 5 years. Because Hindenburg research revealed how they parlayed an ocean of lies into a partnership. They're doing this fake it till you make it thing. But it's not your average, like, oh, we're slightly exaggerating some of our details. We actually, they had a truck. They said they had this hydrogen-powered truck that worked.
The hydrogen-powered truck. Now, here's where it gets hilarious, because it turns out that it might not have been fully a hydrogen-powered truck.
But it turned out they were rolling it down a hill. Like, this wasn't the role for Donald Trump. They're just lying about the capabilities of their vehicle. This was not powered by hydrogen here. It was rolling. I mean, guys, what What are we doing here? In addition, they had internal emails where they revealed that
What are we doing here? We're making, hey, listen, what we're doing here, we're pardoning everybody. All right. And I understand that many of you are just finding this out here, right now. I mean, it is a interesting turn of events, but this isn't the first time we've ever seen, questionable people that, get just, dodge any kind of real accountability. And let's be clear here, especially when it comes down to cryptocurrency, which we'll be getting into. That is a whole other animal altogether, because currently, as it stands, with the amount of unregulated potential money markets that are there, with the fact that there isn't really a whole system put in place to prevent any kind of real economic disasters with cryptocurrency, there's a chance where some people could, maybe put a nice wad of cash in the back pocket or in the purse of a politician. And then all of a sudden, everything's a-okay.
and by just hydrogen, but instead there was an electric cable that went up to power it. So when they were doing their show, it looked like it worked. I mean, you get the point. It was like a blatant fraud. And now, instead of actually, paying a stiff price, like the FBI said, now he just walks away. And just as a coincidence, by the way, one of the trial attorneys of Trevor Milton was Brad Bondi or Bondi.
Bondi, you're okay.
I don't know how to say that. Either way, it's the brother of our new attorney general of Trump, who is Pam Bondi. So Brad Bondi, trial attorney. Now his client gets retroactively pardoned while his sister is the attorney general. It's so correct. It's not even it's mind-blowing. I mean, it's truly mind-blowing. We have a guy who not only that also donated 1.8 million.
And I want to be clear here. No one loves the feds, but it is what this is a perfect case study into how things are connected and how the system and process works. Everything's complicated. And look, Trump gave his pardons out. It is what it is. Whether you like it or not, it's over. The SEC, for example, for Haley Welch, hey, they conducted their investigation. Their investigation is now closed. And as for everybody else that got a pardon from Donald Trump, well, they got a pardon. It's over. That's all. The president of the United States does have that power. And, that precedent's been set by many other presidents who have abused their pardoning things. See, it's easy. Right now, I see a lot of people on social media blaming Trump. I see a lot of people yelling at Trump. No. It was like that when he got here. Okay, because look at the people that Obama or Biden or Bush Jr. or Bill Clinton or Bush Sr. or what Ronnie Boy Reagan. Look at the people they pardoned. Is it any different? Is it any more shocking? Is it any more of a scandal? George Carlin was right. It is one big club and you ain't in it. And the only time there's real accountability, the only time there's a blood sacrifice is if somebody decides to steal from the rich, or either that decides to crap in the pot that all the politicians and their donors and their bed sitters are stewing in. Because as soon as you crap in the pot, you are ostracized. You're given that scarlet letter and you are out. All in all, you do an oopsie. Slap on the wrist. See, that's why I'm not yelling or raging out. I'm actually laughing because it's like, oh, okay, I expect it. Why? Because how many times have I covered on this show about Nancy Pelosi or any of these other jagoff politicians who do insider trading? Now, if any of you were caught doing a fraction of what Nancy was doing or her fantastic friends, man, none of you are ever going to see the light of day ever again.
According to the Wall Street Journal, to a Trump fundraising committee in October. Not a bad deal to get out of 4 years in jail and paying restitution. So now what? I really can't emphasize enough. I hate that this stuff is being politicized. I would never make it political, but it is inherently politicized because the people releasing what I believe to be criminals, I guess now he's not a criminal.
He's pardoned, so no, it's over now. The man's free. He can live his best life, and maybe he can make a good truck. Come on, guys, give him a second chance.
The political statement. Like, I don't know what to say. It's just pay to play, average corruption. You pay me, you're the bro, you have the attorney that's the bro of the attorney general, you get a pardon. And look at the way Trevor talks about it. He plays right into the whole politics thing.
Done by the same offices that harassed and prosecuted him. And I'm now officially 100% pardoned. And I wanted to tell everyone out there, all the people that supported me and fought through all the bull crap, fought all the lies, fought against all the short sellers and the destruction that they do and everybody else involved. The greatest comeback story in America is about to happen. And I just wanted to tell you guys, thank you.
You shouldn't be thanking us. You should be thanking your $1.8 million. You should be thanking your attorney. You should be thanking the new strategy where we just let fraudsters go that we've already caught. I mean, it's not like the Tuah stuff. It's a little annoying, but you could argue, okay, how much did she really know? You could argue, you're changing all the rules on meme coins. I guess.
And, I would say this too, that perhaps Haley surrounded herself with all the wrong people. Because when and I've mentioned this before, like, look, when you become when a person becomes an influencer and they get a whole bunch of cash, see, the problem is that it's the infamous lottery curse. When you get all the figgy pudding, you open yourself up to be taken advantage of by scummy, less than honorable people who will tell you things you want to hear, pretend to be your friend, and then become a total snake.
As we allow this now, I don't agree with it, but this is like even different than that. It's like taking a guy who was sentenced, who we already decided this is really bad. He's faking all his, he's bilking these investors, and go, you're fine to do that again. So where do we go from here? I think SBF is up next. But anyways, depressing, a sad day. And yeah, I think if you're someone who's against corruption, you should be against this. Trevor Milton's not a political figure. He never was. And for it to be politicized in order to get him a pardon is weird. I guess like everyone who supports Donald Trump now just gets let go. I guess. I don't know. Weird. And I think it's bad for the country. Okay.
Yeah. An argument can be made. It's bad for the country. But speaking of crypto coin, because, hey, Trump also pardoned another group of people.
Hey there, Kelly. CNBC has learned that President Trump has issued pardons to the three co-founders of the Bitcoin Mercantile Exchange, or known as BitMEX. They had pled guilty to a range of charges related to money laundering and failure to police the exchange. The three men issued pardons are Arthur Hayes, Benjamin Dello, and Samuel Reed. Now, Reed had pled guilty to violating the Bank Secrecy Act back in 2022 and agreed to pay a $10 million fine. And at the time, prosecutors said the three men effectively operated BitMEX as a money laundering platform and that its purported withdrawal from the United States market was a sham. No indication from the White House here on exactly why the president chose these three men for pardons. Nonetheless, I'm told these pardons were signed last night. Meanwhile, we also heard the president just a short time ago here. Hey there, Kelly.
So let's talk a little bit more about this. What exactly happened? President Trump granted pardons to three co-founders of the BitMEX global cryptocurrency exchange, as well as a former high-ranking employee of the company. The co-founders, former BitMEX CEO Arthur Hayes, Benjamin Dello, and Samuel Reed, and former head of business development Gregory Durer, previously pled guilty to one count of violating the Bank Secrecy Act related to failure to maintain anti-money laundering and know your customer programs. The founders received criminal sentence of probation of varying lengths and were ordered to pay civil fines totaling a whopping $30 million related to a lawsuit by the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. Dwyer, who had received a sentence of 18 months of probation, agreed to pay $150,000 in fines. Prosecutors accused the man of effectively operating BitMEX as a money laundering platform, and that his purported withdrawal from the U.S. market was a sham. Trump issued the pardons on Thursday, more than 3 months after BitMEX was sentenced to pay a fine of a whopping $100 million for violating the Bank Secrecy Act by failing to establish and maintain anti-laundering, money laundering, and know your customer programs. Hayes, in a tweet on Friday, wrote, "Thank you, President of the United States," using the term for President of the United States. He used POTUS. Thank you so much. Delio, in the statement, said, "The United States Department of Justice wrongfully targeted BitMEX and its co-founders. This full and unconditional pardon by President Trump is a vindication of the position we've always held, that BitMEX, my co-founders, and I should have never been charged with criminal offense through an obscure, antiquated law. As the most successful crypto exchange of its kind, we were wrongly made to serve as an example, sacrificed for political reasons, and used to send inconsistent regulatory signals. I'm sincerely grateful to the president for granting this pardon to me and my co-founders. A legal wrong had been righted today, and despite the distress I have been through over the past few years, I'm pleased to have cleared my name and be able to continue my life and philanthropic work without the burden of an unfounded conviction." Oh my goodness. So Hayes and Delo and Reed founded BitMEX in 2014. Prosecutors said the executives knew that the exchange was required to implement an anti-money laundering plan because it served U.S. customers, but chose to flout those requirements, requiring that customers provide an email address to use BitMEX services. Indeed, senior executives each knew that customers residing in the U.S. continued to use BitMEX trading platform though at least in or about 2018, and that BitMEX policies normally in place to prevent such trading were toothless and easily overridden to serve BitMEX's bottom line goal of obtaining revenue through the United States market without regard of U.S. criminal laws. Hey, listen, man, guys, it's all good, all right? But you want to know who's not feeling good? Because here's the thing: let me go ahead and pull up this article again, because I did not have it up here. I had the frozen face of that jagoff news reporter. So this was, again, the people that Trump pardoned for BitMEX. But you want to know who's not feeling good? And if this person does get pardoned, CoffeeZilla might have to go on a break for 6 months. Here, I had to tweet this out here, and I'm going to zoom in. Sam Bankman-Fried looking at Trevor Milton pardon like, I can't believe it. So right now, that boy's still in jail, okay? And just for a quick reminder, who is he? What's he about? Tell us who he is, Kit. Well, this is from the day when Sam Bankman-Fried was sentenced to 25 years in prison, and this was on March 28th, 2024. A year ago.
Yeah, so we just got out of the courtroom. 25 years plus 3 years of a supervised release. Judge Kaplan going through his reasoning behind a lot of that. And among the things he talked about was Sam Bankman-Fried's perceived lying on the stand. He talked about him knowingly committing these crimes, going up and brazenly lying on the stand. That did factor into this. He did talk about some of what the government recommended and said that was about 40 or 50 years. He said that was overkill, essentially. He said that was not necessary in terms of deterrence. He talked as well about, hold on, Sarah, sorry, I'm getting my notes here. Okay. He talked about some of the messages that Bankman-Fried had sent to reporters at the time, and the F regulators line came up. He said that showed essentially that he was gambling here, that he had this expected value of the outcomes of running this business. And he said the error here was miscalculating the risk that Sam Bankman-Fried would get caught. He said he knew what he was doing. He was gambling for this expected value, and that was really his worldview. As the judge said, it's his nature. He also went on to talk about some of his mistakes, his pithy expressions throughout all of the criminal trial, and said in his 30 years on the stand, he had not seen a performance like it in terms of the way he was hair splitting. He was evading certain questions.
Gotta love this. Mastermind Hour. Scam Bankman yet to be freed. Well, in that Tucker Carlson interview, where he talked about, being friends with P. Diddy, is P. Diddy in the room? Well, looks like him trying to weasel his way or worm his way into Trump's heart didn't work too well for him.
That also factored into the sentencing. And he said, he knew it was wrong. He really was betting that he wasn't going to get caught. He went on to talk about the risk that Sam Bankman-Fried would do this again. He said he had this PR strategy talked about really him going out and talking to the press and a lot of reporters. He said that demonstrates that he knows how to do this and that the will is there to do this again. And that was something he said. It's not a trivial risk that he would commit a similar crime. And that played into the sentencing there. Sarah, that is really the gist of the crux of it. He said that he doesn't want him to commit these crimes again. But again, as I mentioned, in 30 years, he had never seen the performance like that, which for Judge Kaplan, a quite experienced judge, really says a lot. But Sam Bankman-Fried sentenced to 25 years, Sarah. That's
now that was last year. Now here's an update from yesterday. Tiffany Fong, who's been covering the Sam Bankman story, here's an update because Sammy boy, I don't think he's going to get pardoned because he's right now hearing about all these people that got pardoned right now. He's in the great state of Oklahoma. So shout out to all my lovely, beautiful audience members in the great state of Oklahoma.
Okay, I know some of you guys don't give a shit about this stuff, but I've been covering the FTX SBF debacle since day one, so I will continue to do so. So it appears that Sam Bankman-Fried, who was once a major Democratic donor, notably Joe Biden's second largest donor, is now angling for a pardon from Donald Trump. So much so that he recently did an unauthorized interview with Tucker Carlson, which you might have seen on X. Sam gave this interview from MDC Brooklyn, where he's been incarcerated since August 2023 alongside Sean Diddy Combs.
Is Diddy in the room?
I've only spoken to Sam in email since he's been incarcerated, but he told me that he requested to remain at MDC Brooklyn in order to be in close proximity to his New York-based lawyers as he worked on his appeal. Well, apparently, since this Tucker Carlson interview was unsanctioned, he was immediately thrown into solitary confinement after the interview. But that interview was a couple weeks ago, so now, apparently this morning, Thursday at 3 a.m., Sam was awoken and escorted out of his unit, and prison officials reportedly did not tell him where he was being taken. Sam was then reportedly shipped off to an Oklahoma transit facility via Con Air, and officials have apparently begun the process of—
Oh, man. He didn't have Nicolas Cage to get him out of there. No Con Air.
transferring him to a prison where he will continue to serve the remainder of his fraud sentence, which I guess is a shame because it sounded like Sam was making some decent friends at MDC Brooklyn. I don't know if you remember, but I got this photo from prison. I befriended an ex-Blood Gang member who recently got out of prison with SBF, and he told me all about Sam's new friends in prison. You can look for that video on my YouTube channel if you are interested. This was like the hardest photo to get. I almost got extorted. But
gotta be careful about extortion. All right, Tiffany, you gotta be careful.
But anyway, in case you don't remember, Sam Bankman-Fried was sentenced to 25 years in prison, and he was initially incarcerated in August 2023, but it appears that his release date has been updated on the BOP website to November 17th, 2044. So it sounds like a few years of this 25-year sentence have been shaven off. I don't know why that is. I'm no lawyer. I don't know if it's because of good time served or if it's because he's done any programs in prison, because I know some programs like the drug and alcohol program can shave off a year of your sentence. But if I find out why, I will let you know. I will also let you know where he ends up after this Oklahoma transit facility. But in the meantime, do you guys think that Donald Trump will give Sam Bankman-Fried a pardon? I personally think that's incredibly unlikely given that Sam donated to Joe Biden's campaign. And it came out that Sam apparently considered offering Donald Trump $5 billion to not run for president. I will say, though, that in my first interview with Sam Bankman-Fried, he claimed that he donated about equal amounts to Republicans as he did to Democrats, but donated to Republicans dark because he was worried that journalists would freak out because they're so liberal.
I donated to both parties. I donated about the same amount to both parties this year. All my Republican donations were dark. People won't see them. And the reason was not for regulatory reason. It's because reporters freak the fuck out if you donate to a Republican. They're all super liberal and didn't want to have that fight. So I just made all the Republican ones dark.
So I guess that's one of the few things that Sam has working in his favor at this point, and the Tucker Carlson interview that got him thrown into solitary confinement. So we will see how this all plays out. Anyway, I love you all so much, and I will talk to you very, very soon. Hey, it's
All right, there you go. So
me, Tiff. And in case you've never heard of me before, I've been independently covering fraud and bankruptcies in the crypto space. Because of this, I know a lot of people who follow me or might recognize me were once customers of FTX. Well, that's where FTX Creditor comes in. FTX Creditor will buy your FTX bankruptcy claim and pay you immediately in USDC. FTX Creditor has actually bought more FTX claims than all of the other claims buyers combined. FTX Creditor even buys small claims as low as $1,800.
I would say if you want to check out the rest of that, please do your own research. But what I'll also say is do not get involved in crypto. Okay. It seems like a fun thing to be part of. I know there's a lot of people who have that fearing of missing out. And look, I'm I know right now there's a lot of talk about Bitcoin. As somebody who missed out on the Bitcoin race, I mean, my story is this. In college, I was a friend of a friend was trying to introduce me to Bitcoin. All right. Now, he was able to look later on. Yes, he was able to cash in his Bitcoin. He's doing very good for himself. All right. But he was a god awful salesman. Okay. Like this, if there was a tier of people selling Bitcoin or trying to get people, he was at the bottom tier. He did a terrible job, and I will not reenact it. It was very shady, extremely shady, just how he's like telling me to get involved in Bitcoin. And I decided to trust my gut and say like, didn't seem like that thing. Now with everyone producing cryptocurrency, crypto exchange, talking about Bitcoin, if you want to get involved in that, I would say beware, because there's a chance you can ruin everything. And you have to do your research. And just because someone thinks that just because someone who's done their research thinks they're going to be smart enough and outgame the system, there's a reason why the system is what it is and why it is surrounded by a bunch of carnivorous monsters that will rip your face off and not even blink while they're doing it. Okay. Because that's the problem with crypto. All right. And so with Trump doing these pardons, the SEC finishing its investigations, it does set a dangerous precedent about the future of cryptocurrency and what it will do in the long run, or what kind of impact it will have on our economy. There's another side note that I want to put in here. I want to give a huge shout out to Case Study QB. And while it doesn't involve cryptocurrency, it does involve the tech bros, as Trump is firing FTC commissioners and so much more. So huge shout out to Case Study QB. Please be sure to follow him on all social media.
NVIDIA, they're all in the red here. Perhaps they were overbought, maybe, or investors, after initially thinking the new antitrust watchdogs in the new Trump administration would be way friendlier to big tech and mergers, aren't so sure now. Is the new FTC chief, Andrew Ferguson, looking more like a cousin versus a foe of Joe Biden's antitrust chief? That would be Lina Khan, former chair of the Federal Trade Commission under President Joe Biden and one of the big tech industry's fiercest watchdogs. She joins us here in studio live. Thank you for coming.
Great to be here.
One of your earliest moves when you took the head of the FTC was not to initiate, but to actually revive the FTC lawsuit from the first Trump administration.
Anthony Penza says, Bitcoin had a chance to actually be revolutionary at the beginning, but now it's used by early investors to get richer by suckering in new buyers. What can I tell you? You're not wrong. I mean, it's not a matter of if Bitcoin or cryptocurrency implodes. It's a matter of when and what's going to cause it. When I had Michael Vass on the show, he worked at Wall Street, and it was a very interesting interview that him and I had in regards to the future of, exchanges and money and cryptocurrency. And the thing is, do you want to be a pig that's going to be led to slaughter? And unfortunately, I think a lot of us are going to be led into slaughter if this is the environment that's being allowed to flourish.
Against Meta. So everybody thinks that Trump is so different from the Biden administration, but they were already going after Meta. And then you look at what happened on inauguration. All the tech bros, CEO Mark Zuckerberg of Meta, Elon Musk of Tesla, you had Sundar Pichai of Google. We could show the video of these tech bros. They were all there almost as if they were big buddies now, thinking they might get to skirt any problems. What went through your mind when you saw that on Inauguration Day?
Well, you got to quote the great Saint George Carlin. By the way, Zuck, we saw you looking at Jeff Bezos' main squeeze. He ain't slick, homie.
Well, it was a striking image, and it came after weeks of some of these same CEOs and companies making a pilgrimage to Mar-a-Lago, and everybody had been wondering, what will this mean for the active lawsuits that are underway. And you're absolutely right. It was actually during the first Trump administration that they filed a big antitrust lawsuit against then Facebook. That lawsuit was actually tossed out. The judge dismissed it as being inadequate within my first month of office. And then we refiled it and it succeeded. We defeated Facebook's motion to dismiss. And that case is now set to go to trial in the next couple of months. And so as far as I'm aware, that is still the plan. And so I hope that that litigation will continue and we'll get the right verdict.
When Donald Trump was reelected, it almost looked as if every corporate CEO, especially the big ones, thought, oh, it's going to be clear sailing for mergers and acquisitions. You know, Andrew Ferguson, the new FTC chief. Do you think it's going to be that easy for big business?
Well, look, I think we're all waiting to see what's going to happen. I think you're absolutely right that there was giddiness post-election about maybe this will mean that the antitrust cops will just go away or just take a break for several years. And so far, we've seen some promising announcements about the merger guidelines staying in place. We've seen some lawsuits. I do think that last week's decision by the administration to illegally attempt to fire two of the Democratic commissioners introduces a new wrinkle here. Why do that? What does that mean? These were two commissioners that were fierce defenders of the rule of law. So I think now we have some additional uncertainty, and the ripples of this decision, I think we're just going to have to see. I mean, if you can on a whim fire an FTC commissioner, you can on a whim fire the chair of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell. So where is this going to go?
Well, for people who don't understand how the FTC works, the ruling party, the dominant party gets gets to name 3, and then the minority party gets 2. Am I correct?
Yeah, no more than 3 can be from one party.
Right.
Yeah, it's just how it is. But remember, it doesn't matter whether it's Team Red or Team Blue. Wall Street must be appeased. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who controls the House or the Senate or who controls the presidency. Ever since JFK, we don't have any lions. We got little chihuahuas that know better, because once they get that yank on the leash, that means their master, aka the babysitters, their owners, their donors are telling them to shut up and fall in line and put their pretty little paws on the piece of paper so they could get the signature and write more rules and legislation that will benefit said corporations, Wall Street, big banks, and I guess even now cryptocurrency. It's all part of a very insidious plan to keep you broke. Well, maybe to keep you broke, or is it to keep you in the fields and make sure you don't ask any questions?
Okay, so that it's balanced, and now President Trump is trying, as you said, to fire Alvaro Bedoya and Rebecca Kelly Slaughter. Do you think those commissioners have any recourse?
Well, they've both said publicly they're going to sue. There was no reason given for their dismissal. There's no allegation of malfeasance or anything. And so I think there is a question, were they fired because of a policy disagreement? If so, what is that policy disagreement? Does that mean the president is going to want to go in a very different direction, not be fierce defenders of the rule of law when it comes to big corporations of using their power? One of the lawsuits we filed several months ago was a lawsuit against John Deere, who we alleged had been abusing their power when it came to farmers, making it very difficult for farmers to go fix their own tractors or have their, local repair shop fix their tractors.
You have to go to the John Deere people.
You have to go to the John Deere people, and that inflates costs for farmers. Is that lawsuit going to continue? I think there are a lot of questions now.
Indeed, but there is one move that the Trump DOJ has just made, and that is to block the $14 billion HPE Juniper Networks merger. What does that tell you about how this administration views tech getting bigger and bigger?
Well, look, I think we have seen now for several years bipartisan concern about extreme consolidation and concentration of power in a very small number of technology companies and what those tech companies can do with that power.
Well, let me jump in and say that J.D. Vance, interestingly enough, is a big fan of yours. He has felt that you were right on the money when it came to making sure that big tech didn't get so big. That said, I do want to bring up Amazon, because to me, Amazon, the most recent issue, because you had a multi-pronged push against Amazon for a whole bunch of different reasons. But Amazon had, back in a couple of years ago, wanted to buy iRobot, the maker of Roomba, right?
Yes, because it's not that Jeff Bezos has enough. It's just that they want everything. I mean, it's all one big club. If what is being laid out for everybody to witness, what's being laid out before us is that the mask is finally off. I mean, it's not a debate of, oh my goodness, are we ruled over by oligarchs? Are we ruled over by the top 1%? I mean, it's been there, but I could at least say this: there was an attempt by the media, by the politicians to hide it all, to make this idea that somehow there was true accountability. You know, I remember in 2008, remember the Bernie Madoff scandal? And everybody was saying, oh, how bad Bernie Madoff was. Listen, you do realize that Bernie Madoff was the blood sacrifice, right? Because there were people who have done far, far worse in the 2008 economic depression, that are still out there living their best lives. I mean, they're A-okay. Bernie Madoff, yeah, okay, he did some bad things, but he was just a sacrificial lamb. He did the big no-no. He stole from rich people. It's all being revealed. All the lies are being exposed. And the sooner we all accept it for what it is, I think the better chance we have for other people to wake up. It's always been like this, but there was an attempt by the political ruling elite to keep us in the dark. And, you know, I just can't help but be reminded of the movie They Live, where the aliens and the top rich elite were all clapping around, drinking their fine champagne. And there's Rowdy Piper hearing all this. And they made this statement that still haunts me now that we're actually in that year. But by 2025, the full control over everything. And here we are. Tuah, SEC closed the investigation on her. It's over. She can go back to doing her podcast and talking about whatever. Next time, don't get involved with meme coins. All these people that Trump pardoned, hey, I know CoffeeZilla's right now just drinking a lot of coffee right now. I'm so sorry, buddy. But if Trump actually pardons Sam Bankman, I think that's going to cause a lot of people to have a massive panic attack. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think Sammy Boy screwed up, and he's done for because he didn't donate to Trump, which was a big no-no. If you want a pardon, donate and support Trump, and everything will be fine. That's the lesson that we learned here. If you want to win and win bigly, go with the Trumpster, and that's why everything will be fine. So that's our late evening live stream. I hope we all learned something here. I hope we all came together as a family. Please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and hit that ring bell notification. If you want to help out Hardlands Media even further, all you lovely, beautiful people, please be sure to hit that like button because it does boost up that algorithm and rhyme as it should. We're going to have music by Jett. In the description box below is the Linktree Peachtree. I promise we're patron supporters, you're going to get a patron show. But all of the stuff that was breaking right now, I wanted to talk about this, okay? I really wanted to talk about this for the whole audiences. Patron supporters, you're the main heart and backbone to what we do here. And I definitely wanted to, first of all, give an acknowledgement to, first of all our links. There's our YouTube, X, Rumble, Kick, Discord, Patreon, PayPal, Instagram for all my party animals because all of you are lovely, beautiful people. Also, be sure to invest into Kitcoin, because listen, it's a thing now. We're going to make it bigly. All right. And so if you want to invest big with Kitcoin, because that way you get all the money. Now, all what you have to do is, first of all, not ask any questions. Don't bring up any issues because now, hey, we could do fraud. We could do all this good stuff. And everyone's going to win. Everyone's going to win so much that you're going to be spinning your heads for days. That's how much winning you're going to do because That's how winning is done. And also, let me go ahead and read these wonderful names out for some Patreon supporters who are keeping us alive. Shout out to Lewis, Mandy Z, Marcy Gadwell. We got Marcus Kilgore, Marcus Stowowie, Mastermind Hour. Who is that? Michael Haig, Michael Swensky, Miguel H. Ooh La La, Mike Cotter, Mike Terminite, Mission to Mars, MMSPC 97, Moat Witch, Molly Littlebird, Nancy Venture, Nancy Kurtz, Natalie Williams, Nazli Malik. We got NC Schafter, Nigel C, Obono, Oliver Wench, Paco Rion. We got Painter Q, Palaganda, Freddie G, Pickles, Prefer Pumpkin, and Ravenous Squirrel. Thank you so much for being our Patreon supporters. And I also want to give a special shout out to a good friend and ally to Hard Lens Media. First of all, let me go ahead and pull this up here as well. Because first of all, my good friend Reef Breland from, of course, you know it, INN. Well, Reef Breland actually did a wonderful little present for yours truly. If you haven't seen this, you're going to love it. And if you have seen it, you're going to love it again because I think it's actually pretty cool. But let me go ahead and pull this up here. Here we go. I actually got turned into a Studio Ghibli Chicago style. So shout out to Reef Breland. All right. All right. INN does a lot of great work. And for some of you who don't know, Indie News Network, they're actually the other people who commissioned the Zago brothers to make all the fun, cool stuff. So if you remember earlier last year in the summer of last year, the Zago brothers did a whole group photo of all of your favorite independent media content creators. Hard Lens Media is part of it, and INN, Indie, and everyone else helped commission and make sure that other people got recognized and acknowledged. So shout out to Indy and shout out to Reef. I wanted everybody to be aware of that. Also, there's going to be a special Saturday evening live stream as well, because I'm going to have a good friend as well. Good friend of the show. You know him. You love him. Hold on. Wait, did I show the tab here? Here we go. Here's a tab here. First of all, there's me, Studio Ghibli, right there. And then, of course, there's all the work. And I know, Daniel, listen, I just thought it was funny to use. I'm sorry. And no, Frodo, BW, Frodo is no longer with us. Baby Bird is gone. So shout out to, first of all, Indy and Reef. Thank you again. Huge shout out to this wonderful work. And then, of course, tomorrow, Jett will be joining Hard Lens Media for a fun music night, Saturday, 9 p.m. Tune in or else. But nonetheless, we got music by Jett the Grift. I want to play this song because, you know, we're going to be in some very troubling times here, folks. But the only way we're going to get through this is by working together. So until then, please take good care of yourselves and each other. My name is Kit. This has been Hard Lens Media. Peace to you guys, and have a great evening and have a wonderful
I didn't have to wait for long. I never had to change a song. I just sing it like a bass along. Smile when you say I'm wrong. I can't even fade the song. Can't fake while you play the charms. And I don't know the page we're on, but this is where you say you're wrong.
Now's the perfect time for you to burn the bridge to self-forgiveness. Now's the chance. Take a stand. Stay your hand before you cast another vote for corporate interest. Another vote that chokes your hopes of owning your own home or opening a business. They love to say their hands were tied. The stars just weren't aligned for them to get their votes in line to see their promises delivered. But they killed it in an instant. Bills don't die by accident. They're all assassinated on behalf of the congressionally kismet. By some lobbyists who see themselves as agents of clandestine fate, not fences in a prison. Dealing in the stolen goods of sleeping slaves and trading on the futures of their children. Betting on a spread of daily debt where every grave's creating profit by the millions. For some fascists lurking in the wings and all of their affiliates. And every Etna demigod our senators conduct their darkest dealings with. It really gets impossible to document or fingerprint. Cause it isn't just a pattern of corruption, it's the very fabric making up the structure of the system that we're living in. So dash your hopes and down a margarita goes. You box the shadows, take a little nap, and then you get back in and swing again. But if the margarita made you sick, you probably wouldn't take a drink again. So if you're voting either party, honey, think again. I recommend you steel your nerves and never serve an officer, a president, a despot, or a king again. And mark my words, the day will come where we will rise and sing again. And if voting makes you sick, well, no one's forcing you to drink again.
I didn't have to wait for long. I never had to change a song. I just sing it like a raised alarm. Smile when you say I'm wrong. I can't even fade the song. Can't fake while you play the charms. And I don't know the page you're on, but this is where you say you're wrong.
This is where you finally admit you weren't ignorant. You boldly voted Joe like an informed and blissful idiot. You chose to blur the parts of Biden you don't find the prettiest. Now you choose uplifting news and filter out the grittiest. But the truth is something coarse enough that even when it's hidden, it's apparent when you feel it on your fingertips. I know it's hard to deal with from a distance, and up close the truth is hideous. But there's just no getting rid of it. You've got to let it in, or it just worries at your skin in every moment, loud or intimate. But shake it off, for fuck's sakes. You don't have to celebrate or be so proud of progress by imaginary increments. You don't have to heap such constant praise on fucking villains, like they're stillborn promises or honestly just isolated incidents, and not the product of the principle of privilege. Not intentional eugenics just by any other synonym, covered up with desperate clusterfucks of rosy images, labeled plain by any other name except for what the fucking image is. So once you stare the page down enough, you'll spot the difference. That one is red and one is blue, and that's the only truth, because neither one delivers on that promise of deliverance. One is red and one is blue, and that's the only difference. And the rest are isolated and imaginary incidents. One is red, one is blue, and that's the only difference.
I didn't have to wait for long. I never had to change a song. I just sing it like a raised alarm. Smile when you say I'm wrong. I can't even fade the song. Can't fake while you play the charms. And I don't know the page we're on, but this is where you say you're wrong.
Here's what's happening, because it's not just one group of aliens.
What's the different groups?
The big five.
Okay, tell me what's going on.
Let me begin. Because this is really, I'm telling you, Joe, this is a real deal.
We're listening to you.
Well, first off, elves is the main group.
Okay.
And they call them
Tina! I don't think you're allowed to say that anymore.
There are bad things that look like elves that have horns when they show you who they really are. Damn. They're bad aliens.
I'm with you.
AI is alien.
Like a robot?
Yeah, they're like robots coming to kill you.
Jesus Christ.
The chimeras are alien.
And there's a hive mind sort of thinking to a lot of this.
They want the organs. I swear on my kids, I told you the truth about that.
I believe you. I believe you.
They're coming after everybody.
Jeez.
It's a breakaway civilization, dude. We don't know what they got. Joe, they're control freaks.
Well, everybody's
That's why I'm so glad you're in the fight now. These guys are on stuff that like nobody even knows.
What do you think they're on?
Stuff they've been given.
Okay. I understand what you're saying.
You know, there's like armed guys with machine guns.
That is a group of people that were obsessed with combat.
About the most fearless killers there are.
Do you think that's from their heritage of war?
I mean, it's just like, it's mental illness, man.
Yeah. That's